Hello, family. Hello, lovelies. I'm back. This is Kimberly Purpoz, and welcome to my channel. Today, I wanted to do an interesting video about names in American Aboriginal names. American Aboriginal names. And I thought it would be quite interesting because there's a few things I wanted to share with you. I wanted to share this interesting article. And I want to also let you all know that this is the necklaces that I'm putting into my store, the Purpose Healing Art store. This is a Rike necklace with a feather. This is the one for the clear. This is a clear crystal right here, and then this one is a turquoise crystal. And they all available in my store, which is coming soon. I'm still working on it. And I keep you guys posted on that. And I also want to share with you all, if I can bring you along. This is my new website, you guys. I finally got it done. Let's see here. And let's see if it'll take you over here. And this is about the whole my counseling and wellness business that I'm doing right now. And I'm gonna put a link here, but this is my new website. I do anger management, domestic violence, and different court order type training, educational training as well, parenting classes and stress management. You have it. It's all here and on this website. It gives you more detail. But I'm going to come back. I just want to share that with you all. This is my website. I'll definitely put a link to it for you all to see. But back to this article, I want to talk about names. The reason why I want to do the names of the Indians, American Aborigines, and how the traditions and everything, is because I'm doing it for myself. Sorry if I'm a little tired, y'all. I've been, it's a little late, but I wanted to make sure I do a video and keep it going on my channel. But I just wanted to talk about the names because I'm doing I'm tracing my roots and learning more about my heritage, indigenous heritage, just Cherokee and Creek. And I'm also I'm working on my family trust, like an Indian trust. And one of the things that's required to do is to have your, first of all, your Indian tribe name, but also your name, your indigenous heritage name. And what we did, well, I went through Baba, I'll share all the information with you all. He's guiding me through the whole process. And one of the first things I had to do is come up with a name for myself and for my children to, name as well, because our names are Europeanized and it's based on European standards, of course, which goes back to colonialization. So I had the opportunity to create and research and come up with a name for myself. And for those who don't know, my Indian name is Purpose Pure of Heart. That's the name that I came up with. And how I came up with mine was, I just used my pen name because I tried to research my name, which is Kimberly, which means fortress in English. I believe it's an English name, but it means protector and fortress. And I didn't really like that name, but I decided not to use that. But I decided to use my pen name, which is Purpose, which I put the Z at the end, which means power in your purpose. And then the pure of heart came from my name, Swanson, which was so pretty. I researched it, and that was my dad's name. And Swanson means pure of heart. And I thought that was so beautiful, so I wanted to keep that one. So that's why I came with purpose, pure of heart. And so I did my children's name, and my son, his name is Austin. And we translated his, and we got the definition of his name, which means what is it? What is his name? Majestic Destiny. That was his. So he decided to call himself Majestic Destiny, pure of heart. And that's how we came up with our names. And he wanted to use pure of heart for the last name. He didn't like the name for his last name under his father's side, because he didn't like how it sounded with the name. I think it was Friends of Horses or something. So he decided to just go with pure heart because he liked pure of heart too, which I do. And so, and of course, my daughter, her name is Autumn, which is also which is pretty much the tradition of many Native Americans using nature, type names. We chose her name. When she was born, I named her Autumn, so hers would be Autumn, pure of heart. So that's how we did ours, and how we came up with our names. And it was actually a fun and enjoyable experience. And I just wanted to share that with you all, because it's really fun and very therapeutic, and getting a chance to get to the core of who you are as a person. You get a chance to tap more into your indigenous heritage, and you use it by expressing yourself through your name. And really, we do it already. If you don't believe it or not, a lot of people have nicknames and everything, like mine's Purpose, so you have nicknames already, and sometimes people incorporate it in there. And what we're going to do is, after we pick, find the definition of our names, we're going to translate it into Cherokee. There's a website that translates different words from English over to the Cherokee language. And so you'll get a full scope. I couldn't pronounce mine, but I'm still working on that. I'm going to put that, the actual real indigenous name, as well. But it's fun, and learning how to come up with your name using the definition in English, and translating it into your indigenous heritage through your native tongue is very fun. And I think my mom's name, her name is Eula, so we translate hers. Hers means sweet voice or something like that. I think her name was Greek, and I thought it was fun getting a chance to learn more about what our names mean and everything. But I'm going to get back on here on this topic. Oh, and I also wanted to mention too, when I traced my roots, I found out my grandmother's name. I mentioned it in another video, Suki. And Suki I found out it's an indigenous name too. It's a short and abbreviated name. And I found out that Suki actually means Susana. It's a short and version. It's an abbreviation for the indigenous name Susana, and Susana means early morning. So that's another example of Indians, learning how to learn the meaning of names and translate it into, your native tongue. But anyway, let's hear this article here is by Elizabeth Pearson Wagman. And what is in a name? And so I pulled this article from Psychology Today, and the title of it is called Names and Identity, the Native American Naming Tradition. Native American name traditions can enrich your sense of self. And I agree with that. That is so true. You get a chance to, you know, find out the core of who you are through names, you know. But it says here, this is the first article on Psychology Today blog, What is in a Name?, in which we will ponder the psychological ramifications of names, beginning with our oldest naming tradition of the Native Americans. Using Juliet's famous quote, "What is in a name?" I visited women to discuss anything they wanted about their given names. Of all the essays I received, the Native Americans has the most complex naming tradition, which helps the rest of us enrich in our own sense of identity. It says Brooke Rumsikusuka. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. A Mohegan notes that Native American naming traditions, names should change. Children receive names that are descriptive. They may be given a new name of adolescence, and again, as they go through life according to what the life experiences and accomplishments are. Society bestows a new name. A new name is earned. W. S. Brooke explains, some people are like lakes. They change very little as they age. Some people are like rivers. When you trace the Mississippi or any other river at its source, it is very small. Later on, it will be wide and strong. When it meets the ocean, it spreads out. And in other words, names should change as the individual changes. That is so neat. I think that's interesting. So that's true. You know, you're not the same person as you was when you were a child. You gradually evolve and change through your life experiences. So that does make sense to change your name as you evolve as a person, which is an interesting technique. And, I think that's an interesting concept. And I was also reading some articles about Indian names, another article about how sometimes they didn't name the baby when a baby is born. In certain tribes, they didn't name the baby for a few days until after, a few days later, to try to get a sense of what the child is all about. So they might wait a few days to come up with a name for the child. They didn't name the child right away. They got a chance to have the child for a few days, even a few weeks, to pick a name that fits that child's that baby's aura, or the essence of who they are. But let's continue. It says here, before you say that neither practical nor possible in modern society, pause for a moment and consider that we have a pale shadow of this Native American naming tradition. Our nicknames. Although most of us have only one or two nicknames, some women have several, and some have a veritable profusion which continue into adulthood. Nicknames provide insight not only into the individual, but also into how other people think of her. They are a double prism rather than one-way mirrors. Nicknames also serve as time markers. As Jennifer noted, it is interesting. When I think about it, I answer to just J names. I can tell where many of my friendships stems from by what names they call me. Unlike the Native Americans, most of us don't continue collecting new names once we become adults. That's true. We usually stick with the same names in spirit. But I think nicknames is quite interesting. And I agree it does change as you grow as an individual. Because I believe the rapper Little Romeo, he changed his name, I believe, to Romeo. And, as you grow, you change your name to fit more of who you are. And I can see that. I really can. But it says here, many of the essays describes growing into their given name. One essay describes growing into her given name, accompanied with the delightful and common feeling of finally being all grown up, a circular evolution going to the name given at birth. The challenge with this circular evolution is to remember that once we have grown into our given name, we have not attained the goal but only started the journey. The Native Americans' name tradition inspires the individual to continue to change throughout life. I think this is neat. I think this is really neat. And it's true. Like I said, we evolve, we change, and you might have a name when you're a child, and then you go through teenage years and adult years. It does change and evolve, and I've seen people do that a lot. You see it in celebrities. You just see it with people as a whole. You know, but it says Native American names are drawn from nature. In industrialized countries, names based on nature gradually fell out of favor. Names like Rose, Fern, or Pearl were considered old-fashioned and unsuitable for the workplace. Has our failure to maintain names drawn from nature broke our bond to the environment, resulting in its unsustainable exploitation? Recent names Studies indicate the names from nature are making a comeback in the United States with names like Olivia, Ruby, and Lily. The same trend is also occurring in the U.S. with names as Ashley, from the ash tree, Olivia, Olive, and Chloe, green shoots. The U.S. names only whisper the ties to nature. It will be interesting to see the trends continue. I believe it is. I think this trend will continue, especially among American Aborigines. There came African Americans as more American Aborigines tap more into their indigenous heritage. You will see that because that's what I did with my daughter. I gave her Autumn. Wanted to name her Autumn Cree, but family did not agree with that name. My mom took her, but I kept the name Autumn, and Autumn, I gave her a name of the seasons, and lately I've been seeing a lot of people naming their kids after the season, like autumn, winter, summer, spring. So I can see that it's definitely happening here in the United States, and I believe it's happening among American Aborigines in particular, as we get more connected as to who we are, our history, and our heritage in this particular country. Sorry about that, y'all. Keep on popping up. It says, Native American tribal names is linked to individual to a group of families. Phil Conestine, sorry about that, notes that many other tribal names mean people, us, human beings, reach even beyond a tribe to include all of mankind. Native American tribal names represent a much larger concept than most family names in Europe and America. Clan names will carry the broader concept of human family through these names are much more specific than the Constantine describes. Tribal names that represents us imagine the psychological impact of growing up with a name that means mankind instead of me. Wow. I guess it takes more of a holistic approach as opposed to just being individualized, which is a concept that's here in the Americas, which can be quite selfish. When everything is only based on self and with very little concept as to a community as a whole, I could see that. With the tribes, they work more as a collective, as a group, as a whole, as a community to get things done. And with the names, they use names that describes a clan and a tribe, where represents, unity as a collective. And I can see that, working together as a collective. And that's something that we as American Aborigines need to learn. And I think starting with our name, tracing our roots, and learning more about how to connect as a clan is definitely important. And having that name that's like pure of heart with us, that's our clan name. And I think that's very important. And you see yourselves as a family, as a as a collective, as a tribe. And that's how you get things done, and I think that we will work better that way. You start with your name, but as you start building and connecting with who you are as a person, and as more than just a person, that your name is a way of coming back as a whole, as a group, as a collective, it can make a difference. In a way, your name is a way of speaking certain situations and outcomes into the universe. Hopefully I'm making sense. But anyway, let me go on down here. I can get a little deep, you all. I think more into things. But it says here, Native Americans also have secret sacred names that only the individual and the medicine man know. We still find this tradition of spiritual names in Hebrew and Christian traditions. Jews have a Hebrew name in addition to the name society knows by them. Have Hebrew names. Yeah, and that's what we need to get back to. I see that. Although whether this is a spiritual or cultural name or both depends entirely on the individual's personal belief. And see, that's something we need to go back to. It's American Aborigines. Embracing our Hebrews names, because we were broken off from it. And as I do more research, it's showing that a lot of the indigenous tribes here were Hebrews. Not the fake Jews, but the real Hebrews, the American Aborigines. We're actually the lost tribe, according to the stories and the traditions. And it's been passed down through the Bible. And, as a whole, it's already been prophetized that the lost tribe will be found. And we are the lost tribe here, And that's something that we should go back to, too. That's another concept. That is a part of the Native American Aborigine tradition. And it says here, Catholic adolescent, it says here, Catholic adolescents may choose the name of a saint that they especially admire at confirmation, opposed to the Native American name traditions. People know the Hebrew or saint names. Why do Native Americans keep their sacred names hidden? Have they grasped the profound spiritual and psychological reality we have not? If an individual suffers trauma or degradation but retains a secret core identity, the secret core identity has not been defiled. It can be used to help the individual regenerate and heal. Regenerate and heal. This concept could be a great help for individuals suffering from trauma. That's interesting. And I think that's great. And I think this might be a great concept for people like us from the post-traumatic slave syndrome. A lot of us have suffered from that, and we also suffer from an identity crisis. And I think researching, connecting with our names, our indigenous roots is one way of healing from the traumas that we have suffered from in this country. And also, if you could start off with a name that's something that's tied to yourself, and then if you feel like sharing it with the world, you can do it later when you feel more comfortable. Or you could just, like I say, keep it to yourself. But I can see how this is a great concept to healing from post wounds. And I think we as American Aborigines, we have a lot of wounds that are still there, and ancestral wounds. And I think a way to honor our ancestors is to reconnect to who we are through our names. That's one way. Honoring our ancestors by going through the indigenous heritage and culture, bringing it back and reuniting and bringing it back into the universe. Now let's continue. It says here, Native Americans aspire us to think about our names as allegory with multiple dimensions. Interesting. Wow. To remember that we are on a linear voyage in life, that we should be constantly changing and growing, and that our identities consist in how we are seen and judged by others, and by what we give, not by what we take. To remember that our names should remind us first of us, not me. Oh my gosh, this is really deep. And that's true. We need to look more at us as a collective as opposed to just me. Because it's more to, in order us to bring about change and positive energy into the universe for our people, we need to start thinking more as a community, as a group, as a collective, as opposed to just me, 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 me. Because it's harder to get things done when you just think about self. You know, you can get little things done by yourself, but imagine what you can get done if you work as a collective, as a whole. Yeah. But it says here to remember that making the world a better place means not only helping others, but also caring for nature so that our descendants will enjoy the same bounty we have. To remember that every human being has a sacred spiritual core. Now it is up to us to ponder and elaborate our own name stories so that we remember day to day the multiple dimensions of our identity, the inspiration of and the commitments they entail. With many thanks to the Native American women who share their names and stories. And that's the end of this article, you guys. And this is the author, Elizabeth Pearson Wagaman, teacher of New York Direction Writing Program, Washington Center for Psychoanalysis. This is a really great story. This is a really great article. Wow. I actually enjoyed this article. I'm going to put a link to this article, you guys. And so you all can read up on it. I think this was very insightful. And I think it really hit home with me as to what I'm doing and with my family understanding more of bringing more of an identity to my family and who I am as an Indigenous American Aborigine. But I would love to see what you all think about this article. I want to know are you all in the process of changing your name to more of an American Aboriginal name? And how you feel about it. You know, it has been very therapeutic for you. I know it has been for me. And yeah, I would like to get some feedback and insight as to what you all think on your healing journey. But please thumbs up this video. Don't forget to subscribe. And I'm going to put a link. I'm gonna start a backup channel here on YouTube. I have several channels actually. But I think I'm going to try to get those numbers up as a backup channel. And I'm going to also try to do some more live streams, try to squeeze in some time for that. That's why I'm not trying to keep y'all posted on when I'm going to do my next live stream. But till next time, family, peace and be blessed. Bye-bye.